This video was made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details.
Hello and welcome to episode 145 of the Talk Nintendo podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Casey Gibson, and joining me this fine evening, taking some time away from all that corn he's been husking, Mr. Jerry Jerkum.
Hello, Cassie Gibbons, a.k.a. Casey Gibson. How are you doing?
How do you know?
Well, you said it just before I talked.
That is true. I blew my own cover.
Yep. So I hear it's hot over there.
Woo-wee, yes sir. It's hot and a long day of work, but I've got my you can actually hear it probably. My McCafe, my iced coffee.
Oh, iced coffee? Which mocha? Or
No, just a French vanilla iced coffee.
French vanilla, yeah.
Keeping it
I
classy.
love getting iced coffee from McDonald's. I get it plain, you know, like without the sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so good.
I tell you what,
oh,
yeah.
but it's so good with the sugar. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just the old diabetes.
The damn diabetes that got you.
I mean, yeah, yeah. It's so good.
Yeah, it's they've got surprisingly very good coffee. Good hot coffee, good iced coffee. I haven't really dipped too much into their crazy ones, but Caitlin got some sort of frappe, and it had whipped cream on it, and it looked real good.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I was
stuff.
I was like, I need a jolt, but it is too hot for a piping hot cup of Joe. So
you know what's funny? I actually got into not an argument, but a discussion with Craig, the guy, David
Mr. Roundup
Higgins, Craig from Malcolm in the Middle.
How?
You know Craig? I followed him on Twitter, and he posted about how if one of his assistants brought him McDonald's from McDonald's, that they would be fired. And I was like, why?
Yeah, what a jerk.
Because I love McDonald's coffee. And he's like, and then he responded, and he's like, something like, I guess we have different opinions or something like that. And I was like, I guess we do.
Like, well, yeah, unfollowed.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, you should have called, but like, you're an idiot, and I never liked you anyway.
No, he's hilarious.
No, I know, yeah.
And Malcolm.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He plays that role perfectly.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, very great. Oh, what a great show.
I know.
I'll never forget, like, I remember when Caitlin and I watched through that, like, she wasn't, like, opposed to it, but she was like, I guess we could watch a few episodes, and then hook, line, and sinker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had the theme of that show was at my wedding, so.
You should have invited him.
I should have. He's actually from Iowa. He's actually from Des Moines. 2
Really?
hours away from me. Yeah.
So he's probably a Nintendo fan because all Iowans essentially are Nintendo fans, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
It's the Nintendo fan capital of the world.
Sure, I guess.
That's what I said. That's what I always say.
Yep. I was going to say New York City.
NYC.
That's literally where Nintendo New York is. There's even a store.
That's where the first NESs were sold in the United States. They did that test market. I don't know what they call it, where they sold just some, like, only in New York for, like, I guess to just, you know, sort of gauge how popular it might be. And I guess it went pretty well.
Yeah. Well, Casey, we have a ton of games to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
One reason is I've actually been playing video games.
Yeah. What is wrong with the world?
And I didn't get a chance to talk about them last week with
Jimmy had to
Horden because I just sometimes I just can't stand the you know, sometimes I just have to have a break from Canadians.
Spending too much time with the Canadian, right? Yep.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, you know,
that hockey talk and
all the hockey,
who's are this, who's are that.
Hockey Talkie. Yeah. Is there a podcast called Hockey Talkie? Because
probably,
there should be.
yeah. If not,
David,
we're starting.
You can have that one. Hockey Talkie. That has to be a thing.
But it's like from Southerners who are into the honky tonky, right? Isn't that a song?
I'm sure. Yeah, exactly.
So
Honky
yeah,
tonk.
there you go. Because
Hockey
I
tonk.
guess hockey's probably not the most popular sport. The more south you
for
go.
the Cowboys.
Yeah.
People don't know this, but the most popular sport from the Cowboys is not the rodeo. It's hockey.
Yeah, they're over the road, yeah. But anyway, yes.
Yes, we have lots of
Rambling.
games.
We're rambling here.
We are rambling. And you're going to... Well, first of all, we have a quick bite. Yeah, we both did it. So, and this is also a YouTube saloon plug. Well, it's a Twitch saloon.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, we need a new YouTube saloon, the Twitch Lagoon. The Twitch Lagoon.
The Twitch Lagoon. That's so good. Wow, that was very good. YouTube saloon, the Twitch Lagoon. I got to come up with something. It can't be the same thing.
It's, yeah. Right, we'll have to think of a cute little jingle.
The Twitch Lagoon.
Come on down to the lagoon.
Yeah. The Twitch from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a fun little, a new little series that we started on NWR called Metal Mario Chef, and which is a takeoff of Iron Chef. Get an Iron Chef, Metal Mario Chef.
Yes.
It's a Super Mario Maker, and obviously Super Mario Maker 2 is not out yet. So we all dusted off the old Wii U gamepads. We updated our firmwares.
Yep.
Took me about 4 hours to get ready. I could not find my binder full of Wii U games. I could not find it. I finally found it.
Oh, that would be... You put them in a binder?
Well, I have it's like a binder with sleeves to put like DVDs or CDs.
Interesting. You don't keep them in the box?
Well, then I have to keep opening it up and closing the box, and that puts more wear in the box. So it's like, why do that when you can?
That's
keep them?
pro tip right there. Yeah, I've never thought of that.
Oh yeah. Anyway, so the idea was me and Xander and Matt Z and
Nick Bray.
Nick Bray. We got together and we played some Super Mario Maker, and Neil and Casey, those giblet heads, they gave us a set of rules that we had to go by, and we had a half hour to make them, and and we did it, and it was tons of fun. I thought it was really fun.
Yeah, we did essentially it was a pilot just to sort of get the logistics down of how it would work in the future.
Yes.
And how we could sort of improve. And we already have some ideas. So you can find it on twitch.tv/Nintendo World Report. It's a little rough in the sense that it's not like dolled up, right? It's not nice and pretty, but the concept is there, and we're going to, of course, if you're listening to this, Mario is either coming out tomorrow or it's out. The first weekend we're going to be streaming a bunch on twitch.tv/Nintendo World Report. So I'm going to be streaming there, so you definitely want to check that out. But probably be doing a lot of story stuff, maybe some level creation. But as we move into July, we're going to be doing way more streams, and that's going to include a more complete Metal Mario Chef with like nice overlay, having the parameters for the contestants sort of on screen, so you always know what they need to put together, as well as like a countdown timer, so you can sort of see how it's all coming together. But yeah, it was a really fun concept, and it worked, I think, really well. It yielded some really great levels, especially since we only had a half hour, or you guys only had a half hour to actually put them together.
It was crazy. It was super fun, though. We did a really good job. We're not going to spoil who won.
Yeah, I mean, I will be the first to admit I am not a good level creator. So my half-hour level would have been miserable. But these four guys put together some really great levels, and then we went through. Neil and I both played them. I streamed them, so you could see all the levels being played through. And, of course, you could find the codes themselves if you actually want to go and play them yourself. But, yeah, really fun. I'm looking forward to that becoming a bit of a series, especially since it's going to be something where we could bring other people in from off the site, from other channels and other podcasts and stuff to compete. And it could be a really fun collaborative effort within the community, So, and then, of course, who knows?
We're talking about integrating possibly some Patreon stuff. So
yeah, I was gonna say that and listeners, and who knows how it's gonna evolve. But we are definitely very excited for it.
Definitely. But I'm excited for Super Mario Maker. Of course, I had the busiest weekend ever this weekend, so I'm not gonna be able to play it till Sunday. But stick around on Twitch. go head over to the Twitch Lagoon.
The old Twitch Lagoon.
Because Casey and I might stream something on Sunday. You never know.
Yeah, we're gonna, like I said, I'm 100% streaming on Friday, probably all throughout the weekend playing Mario, and then Perry and I will probably be streaming and playing at some point as well too. So
probably won't have our update out yet, so we can play together.
Yeah. No, we'll have to be playing separately but talking together.
Separately but together.
But yeah, as far as Friday goes, the plan is to. It might start earlier, but at worst case, the late start time or tentative start time will be noon Eastern on Friday. I'll be streaming. It might be earlier depending on potential work situation. But yeah, worst case, I'll be streaming at noon, so you definitely want to check that out and see all that Mario Maker 2 goodness. But but yeah, now I think we can move into our main entree, unless you have some more to touch upon.
No, I'm ready to go. It's time for the main entree. Main entrees.
I hope you're hungry because we have it's not even an entree. This is a buffet. We've got a buffet.
Exactly. And I think you reviewed this next one?
I sure did. Yeah, I'm reviewing a bunch of these games we'll talk about today.
That's funny.
And that is Verlet Swing.
Verlet Swing. Now, this is a weird-looking game.
Ooh, it sure is. Yeah, it is very weird. So, the concept, not so weird. Essentially, it's 100 levels, and each level you start and you need to just swing to the end, which is just like sort of like a sphere you got to get to, and you just latch on to different objects.
And it's like first person,
and
right?
you swing. Yeah, it's almost like Spider-Man. Like, think Spider-Man, right? So you're just like, whoop, 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 swing into the area. Now, what makes this game so weird is the set pieces you find yourself in. It is very, like, huge pieces of pizza.
Dude, I'm so hungry.
Yeah, well, don't play this game. Hamburgers, ice cream cones. You've got, like, there's just, like, big fish floating around, arcade machines. Those I always
just a bunch of graphic asset downloads.
Yeah, the statues, the big head statues. What are those? The mosaic? I forget what they're called. You know what I'm talking about? With like the big schnozzes.
The in England. Or
yeah.
in the UK.
Yeah, or wherever the heck it is.
Of course, what are those? Stonehenge.
Not Stonehenge.
Oh.
That's
the statues with the
yeah like the big faces like swinging
like
off those
from Rhythm Heaven.
Yeah, so there's all sort, then like huge gears, like it's just like a whole hodgepodge of random stuff, you know what I mean? And like you never know what you're really gonna get going into the next level. It's like, all right, well, let's see there's just a bunch of hands and a pizza. Okay, and you just swing off these things, right? And you can latch onto them, and it's cool because you're going to use like your momentum. So, you can move left to right, and there are some puzzles that are going to require that. So some puzzles or some stages, I call them puzzles because they feel like puzzles, like working your way to the end. Some you could just, sort of like, okay, I could latch on from object to object, and I don't have to move too much, horizontally, but then some are very much like, okay, you're going to need to swing around a corner and then latch on to a different object. Now, what's difficult about it is that when you're moving really fast, to like, all right, I got to turn my camera and I need to latch on to something all relatively quickly, right? Now, the problem with that is it almost feels tuned for like a mouse and keyboard, right? It was released on PC, because I'd find sometimes, like, even with the sensitivity turned up, like, it wasn't that it was like super slow or anything, but it would just take some time to like, okay, I got over there and now I need to try and pinpoint the spot I need to grab. Where like I feel like if you had a keyboard, you'd really be able to just whip it to where, like, all right, now I'm looking at what I need to look at, and then you would have a little bit more time to fine tune exactly where you want to point. So like there were definitely some puzzles that were a bit frustrating due to that. However, there are some stages that there are some objects that you can't latch onto, and to sort of counterpoint that, they just give you like points that are very much like, okay, you need to grab onto this. So those levels I found weren't as enjoyable, just because it was like, well, there's a set path, right? Like there is some flexibility within it still, but it's very much like, all right, you're going to be going this way to beat the level, where the more open-ended levels are like, oh, you could pretty much latch onto whatever the heck you want, you know? And like, oh, I could, like, there was one level I remember, it was like, oh, they want you to sort of go this way. Like, I could see that's sort of what, but I'm going to try something else, and I was able to still do it by, like, going outside the box of what they might have had. And I think that's, you know, where the game sort of shines the brightest, is, like, the flexibility to really attack certain puzzles, you know, at your own pace or at your own discretion. But there are definitely some tough ones where it's like, oh, you're in a tunnel, so it's going to be like your options are more limited, and it's sort of pretty precise movement and grabbing, because, you know, if you grab an object too far away, you're going to swing too low and you're going to hit the bottom. But if you grab an object too close and you hold on for too long, then you're just going to smash into the ceiling. So it's a sort of a combination of like, all right, I need to find the right spot to grab and the right length to hold on to it. Because like I said, you can't hold on too long, otherwise you're going to end up smashing into something. Now, the good thing is when you do smash into something, it resets nice and quickly. You know, it's not...
Is this a fast-paced game?
Yeah, it's... Because at first I was thinking sort of like Cluster Truck. I
was just going to say that.
Yeah, yes. Like, it's sort of... But Cluster Truck is the better game, without a doubt.
Man. What a great game.
Yeah, Cluster Truck's the better game.
That was so much fun.
But yeah, this game is definitely... It has some fun aspects to it. There is definitely some frustration. There were times, too, where I'd grab an object and, like, the game would latch on to something behind it. Now, I guess maybe I didn't pinpoint it exactly, but like there were definitely times I felt like I grabbed that object, but it would grab something much further behind, and then it was that case of like, oh, well, you're gonna swing really low and hit the ground or hit another object,
right.
And that never really feels
janky.
Great. Yeah, but like I said, the positive thing is it does get you back into the action pretty quick. But yeah, it is definitely just a very weird game. And like obviously they're going for it. Like the one level is dolphins floating, or I mean I guess presumably swimming, but like you're not underwater, they're just sort of floating, and then there's just big toilets around, and so you gotta latch onto a couple of different dolphins and then land in the toilet bowl, and it's just
you gotta
like
use your art.
Yeah,
Casey.
Yeah, I'm like,
it's
this
artistic.
game is so strange, but like that's the most charming aspect of it, is how weird it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
it sounds fun. I always love grapple stuff. You know,
you like grappling. You're a grappler, hey?
I'm a grappler. So this game looks fun, and you can check out our review on NintendoWorldReport.com. And you didn't make a video, did you? Review?
No, not a video on this one. Yeah, just the written word.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, you could try it on mine if you want at some point.
I could. And
you've got that power.
And yeah, I think we've talked about it on the eShop Roundup a week ago. Or a couple weeks ago or something. Anyway, next up is my game. One of my games.
This is the one you overpaid for, right?
Very much overpaid for. And by overpaid for, I mean very much underpaid for, because this game is unbelievably awesome. And that is Sushi Striker!
Quick side note. Do you like sushi?
Yes. I've only had it once, though. I never have it.
Yeah, it's growing on me. I'm one of those, like, I always wanted to like it, and then I tried it a few times. I was like, boo. But there's this one place near, somewhat close to me, Ichiban, and they've got the Mexican rolls. Oh, baby. Jalapeno hot.
So what you're describing now is, I believe...
a burrito.
The birth of this game. It's so hilarious. This game is the most ridiculous game ever, and I guess I kind of missed that. I mean, obviously the idea of Sushi Striker is you're sitting there eating sushi off of plates, stacking the empty plates, and then throwing them at the opponent, and that's the game. The game, and when the game starts off with, "In a world where there's no fish,"
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
It is. It's so funny, and it has these hilarious. I mean, it is as anime as it gets. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I have the. It's crazy. I mean, and there's some like surprise. Did you beat the game, or did you get?
I definitely didn't beat it. I forget how far I got. It was I feel like it was one of those games where I definitely like it a lot. But I feel like
I'm gonna
touch
into some spoiler-esque territory.
I'm not too worried about it.
Well, I'm just telling everyone else. It's not really. I mean, it's not really spoiler-esque. So if you're really like, yeah. Anyway,
the game ends this way. Boom.
No, it's nothing like that. But it's just talking about how serious and kind of like disturbing the game gets. Mm-hmm. And just to match the weirdness of the game. But okay, let's talk about it. First of all, I'm playing it on the 3DS. Okay, the 3DS. I got this
dusted
game.
It off, huh?
Yeah, I got it for $7.50 from like PlayAsia.
Too much.
And I also bought Sushi Striker, the Switch one, for $10. So I have both of them. And
so you're the ultimate
really
Sushi Striker fan.
I am a sushi dude now. Sushido. Yeah, so I started playing it, and it's so funny because we played this way back at PAX East 2018. And it totally, and we played it on Switch, totally turned me off the game. It's hilarious. I mean, it really, I was like, what's the point of this game? It's weird on this, like, what am I doing? And then, like, the guy that was showing us just creamed us all. And I don't think I won one game to anyone because I didn't really understand what was going on. I feel like they didn't explain it. Anyway, here's the thing, Nintendo. I got turned off the game. And I feel like it wasn't well portrayed of what this game is. And what this game is a very fun puzzle game, like Match 3, like Tetris type game. You know what I mean? And I know some people think, oh, okay, that's obvious because you're matching stuff together. But it's really unique. And they match, like, not only is like, you know, the aesthetic hilarious and fun and cute and bright and colorful, but it's very satisfying, like matching like with the sound effects and the idea of you're eating these big huge plates of sushi. The visuals are just really, like, stacking plates is really fun, and getting high, making big combos is just, and then the idea that when you can send that combo over, it's really fun. So the big part of this game is, like, basically stacking plates. You have 5 spots. You want to, you the bigger the plates, obviously the percentage obviously gets bigger for damage.
Bigger the damage, baby.
So, and then, once you get to a certain threshold, then you go into sushi, not bonanza. That's a different thing. Sushi, I've heard it a
Frenzy?
billion times.
I forget.
It's not frenzy. It's sushi, jubilee. Sushi jubilee. And that basically makes it so you score 50% more points. So it's like you want to keep your big stacks in a way.
Yeah, until you're hit that.
So
yeah,
throw your smaller
bonuses.
stacks, and then when you go to Sushi Jubilee, you'll throw those big stacks and you'll do crazy damage. And then you have your 3 little sushi sprites that are basically like Pokemon. Think about Pokemon, but they're little helpers. They just give you different powers. And then, once they hit a certain threshold, then you can use them, and they all do different things. There's probably 20, 25 different ones.
There were a whole bunch, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the strategy is mixing and matching your helpers.
It's interesting, right? So, and then finding out the best way to utilize all of them. And, it's like you can get ones that, provide, when you press the button of that sushi sprite, it'll make a big defense, wall, so that when people are when they're throwing stuff at you, it'll take less damage. So obviously, like, some of that strategy is like, okay, I'm gonna wait for them to use their, like, until when they hit Sushi Jubilee, then I'll put my wall up, and so it's just an extra wrinkle into there, and then you can take less damage. There's stuff that obviously the main one with the main character. it makes it so all the plates turn one color so that you can just grab them all and get this huge 20 stack pretty easily. And then there's all different kinds. My favorite ones that I kind of went to was one of them was a double shot. And what it did is when you unlock it, you can press the sushi sprite, and then it'll make your next shot will do double damage.
Gotta love
so
that double
that's
damage.
really awesome, because when you make this huge stack, like 20 huge plate, a big stack of 20 plates, and then you go, and then so that's already a huge amount by itself. Probably takes off a fifth or a fourth of the screen. Let's just call it that. But then you add in the Sushi Jubilee, so put 50% more on, and then now with this you double that. So it's like now you're like almost like you're taking out a whole bar of their health, like with one shot. And and if you can stack it, I mean, that's not the easiest thing to do. Like, it's not like, okay, that's my plan, I'm gonna do it. It's like sometimes you just don't get the chance because you have to throw it, or you're doing it. Like, it's still hard to do, but it's still a skill. It feels good to execute on it. And then and then the cool thing is with those sushis, they totally are, like I say, Pokemon. They evolve, more or less into different forms, and they look like, so, it's just like Pokemon. And they're small, cute, chibi things. They go into medium-sized, like dog-sized things, and they end up being these like
slightly
legendary
less cuter things.
Yeah, exactly. Then they turn into these like epic legendary things holding gigantic axes, and they look like gods, And with that, they gain new skill. You can when you get items, you can boost their, experience points. There's like an experience share, so that when you're playing, you can be boosting other ones by the all experience. So it's an RPG. It has RPG elements, and they're very welcome, fun RPG elements. And it's kind of like what you'd always wish in something like that. Like, imagine a Tetris game where you have these little extra things that, just like the sushi sprites, these little extra power-ups that you can, that will, I don't know, that freezes the other enemy, and then you can over time put more experience on them, raise their levels, and then so like just for instance, they'll make some legitimate changes. Like I raised it got to the second thing where for the double shot is then you can it's your next 2 shots are doubled. So you can imagine like if you get
just
2
doubling
big plates,
up his power. Yeah.
I mean, it's just So it's just, and then and like I said, there's like a vampire type one where it's like leech life. It'll take health away and give it to you. So it's just a varied of offensive and defensive sushi sprites, and it's a lot of fun. I really had a lot of fun, and then but the best part about it is they really, I mean, when it comes down to it, it's just a very fun and satisfying puzzle game, like a puzzle block game, and I really think they did the right thing. Probably not. Well, definitely not financially. They didn't do the right thing with this game, right? I mean, obviously they released it as a full release. Well, at least it was $50 on Switch, probably
I think it was
35,
50,
maybe, or 40 on. I can't remember. Probably 35 on 3DS. I can't remember. But I mean, it's definitely a game that they put the production. They put tons of. I mean, it is insane amount of story. And there's all these different systems. There's places there's an overworld you can go to train at places. I mean, I think selfishly, for my tastes, they did exactly what I would have wanted them to do with a game like this, which is take this fun concept, really expand it into this insanely awesome single player campaign that is really fun, has these wacky characters, and of course I skipped half or 2/3 of the scene.
You skipper?
I mean, it's. Yeah, I mean, but it's funny though, and then there's some really high quality animation stuff, and there's some hilarious plot twists. And like I said before, when I was talking about kind of spoilery stuff, it gets like pretty like weirdly intense and scary. And I'll talk about that some other time. But it's funny, And so, anyway, I really, really, really enjoyed Sushi Striker. And the funny thing is I blame Nintendo for me not really like getting onto it first. when it came out.
Yeah,
you know?
well,
like
I was
honestly,
surprised that you enjoyed it so much, actually, because you were so turned off from that PAX demo.
I really was. I
so-
was like, what is the point of this game? I couldn't see where the skill was, you know. There's just something about it. I don't know if it was because it was being played on Switch. I don't know if I just there's something about the core I didn't understand. I didn't understand the game. And I think it was also kind of like coming up from like, why is this like a full retail release? Because like, you know, this was announced like during an E3 like live what do you call it, Treehouse Live event for the 3DS, and I thought, oh, it's weird. They're announcing like an eShop release, you know, and then like 2 years later, it's like a full retail. It was just really bizarre. I think the whole release was really bizarre, and obviously the game bombed because it's, you know, I bought it for I bought both versions for $15.
Less than $20 for both of them.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, it's certainly weird. But yeah, it's a shame because it is a good game. It definitely got a bad rep, right? Because especially when you see like, oh, it's no one bought it, it must stink, right? And
right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing, and I don't know why, but I remember like Lemonade saying, you know, I'm pretty sure saying he bought it for
I'm pretty sure
3DS,
I remember that,
and that he liked it better, and we reviewed both versions.
It works, probably better with the stylus being able to just.
Yeah, and you know, I think we gave it a 9.5, and then the 3DS version was a 10.
Was it really that high?
Which was the biggest. I think that was the highest on the internet, probably on the Metascores, but because it has like an average of 7, I think, on Metacritic.
Yeah, let's see, 9.5.
But the thing is like I wouldn't give it a 10 for sure, but like it's definitely like in the 9 range, and I really, really, really enjoyed it because it was perfect. Like for where I was at, I had my 3DS like by my couch, and I would just, you know, it's perfect. Pick it up and play for 10 minutes, 5 minutes even, 2 minutes even, you know. Mm-hmm. A match is like 2 minutes.
Yeah, you can get through it pretty quick.
And it's fun. And then like it's just satisfying and fun. And then like on top of that, the campaign. Like I would love a freaking Tetris game with a campaign. Wouldn't that be fun? Who wouldn't want that?
Now, do you know if it has online play? I'm forgetting.
It does have online play.
Well, yeah. maybe we'll have to bust it out.
I try to get one. Yeah, I'll get it on Switch for sure. The thing is, it's just like I don't want to play it on Switch. I don't want to use my finger. I mean, it's so much better.
I would use
the
probably
stylus.
the buttons and the stick.
See,
over
I
your
can't
finger.
even imagine using the buttons or the stick of the game. There's no way. It's so fast. It's so much. I know for a fact the game is. I don't even know if I could beat it. I'm to be honest, I don't even think I could beat it. I mean, the last parts are so hard. Like you have to be like so precise, and it feels so good. But just so everyone knows, it was like 13 and a half or 14 hours.
That's pretty beefy for a puzzle
pretty
game.
Beefy campaign, especially, and that's like I said, skipping half
for the puzzle
of the cutscenes. But it's really fun. I mean, it's really, really fun. And I think if you can get it for really cheap, I mean, yes, $50 for the game. After playing it now, I would not buy it on the Switch. I mean, it's good on the Switch. I'm sure it is. But I'm saying if you can play it on the 3DS, get it on the 3DS. It is so much better. I mean, I have played it on both. Like, don't get me wrong. And the 3DS is amazing. And it was made for that system. And let me just say to this point, I love the 3DS so much. I know we talked about this before, and we've made jokes about what's a 3DS. But I know that you've talked about how much you love the 3DS, and you want a 4DS.
I sure do,
and
man.
Boy, do I. Oh, I totally agree. I love that system. I love the games on that I was
that's
looking
the
at
thing
it, I was
I missed the most.
Look at all the games on this freaking system. There's so many. Like there's like nothing on Switch. Like nothing new. I mean, and I love the Switch. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But I'm just saying it's like I looked at just the stuff I have downloaded. I have like links you know, the link to A Link Between Worlds, Super Mario 3D Land, Mario Kart 7, WarioWare, Rhythm Heaven, Animal Crossing. I mean, all of these games, Star Fox 64, I have all these games downloaded on there. And it's just like, oh my, like my mouth was salivating. I was like, all these games. And then, and then to go back on it has all the DSi games, all the Game Boy games.
Yeah.
I just started playing through all these games, and I was just having so much fun. So I'll talk more about that. Basically, I'm in a 3DS mood, and I'm probably going to buy all of those. I'm going to look for deals, but getting like Luigi's Mansion. Like
Perry's ready to spend, baby.
Well, I don't want to spend.
I know. I actually forgot.
I want to save.
I was thinking about that actually. That Luigi's Mansion port came the original port of the original came to the 3DS. I forgot about that. But no 3D,
too.
right?
I bought it. No, there's 3D.
There is.
There is.
All right, I thought it was getting like the
play
classic late 3DS Nintendo treatment, where they're like, no 3D.
I bought it and took it back because I thought that you could do online multiplayer, but you can't. On that
I see. That would be. I might pick that game up when we get closer to the release of Luigi.
See,
Luigi
I want to
3.
get it done now so that I can be really fresh for it. But
well, that's what I'm thinking. Like when they announce, like in September, when they go or late October, and they go, "Hey guys, it's coming out in October." That might be the time when I drop down. Like, all right, let's beat that.
Right.
Maybe I'll throw in give Luigi's Mansion 2 a second chance. But you know what I miss the most from the 3DS is just those small games from Nintendo.
I know, man.
Now, and like rightfully so, Nintendo's concentrating on the big boys, right? The heavy hitters, because now they have a robust indie scene that sort of is taking care of that smaller, the smaller titles in between the big boys. But I miss the Nintendo ones. I miss those weird quirky games, utilizing the dual screens.
Okay, so
DS, baby, let's
I wasn't
go.
gonna do that. I wasn't gonna do this, but now I'm officially gonna do it because it just makes too much sense. We're gonna add one more game in the mix that I just started playing, and I played through half the game, and it's so much fun. And that game is Spotto. Spotto. Okay, have you heard of this game?
I have not.
You probably haven't. It's crazy. This is a Nintendo-made
Spotto?
game. DSiWare.
Like SPOTTA?
Oh, Spotto.
Oh, Spotto. Excuse me.
Yeah, I believe it has an exclamation point. Look this game up, everyone. It's $2 freaking dollars.
Developed by Intelligent Systems and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo DS.
I got this game for my DSi, right? This is a DSi transfer game. This game is so much fun. And it's kind of like Angry Birds in a way, but it's like with Nintendo characterization and charm. And you're this little bird, and your name's Spotto, right? And you're just this adorable little bird, and you chuck, you're on the bottom screen, and you're throwing bombs up to the top screen, and you're trying to make them land into Ghost's mouth. No, you're bombing ghosts actually, and the theme is like this haunted. It's like this haunted mansion, but it's like this pastel colored theme. It's so cool, dude. It's so cool, and it's so simple. But it's it's just like you take your stylus and you crank it to arch it to however you want, and you throw it and you try to land it. And there's little puzzles that way.
Can you still purchase DS?
Yeah, you can on the 3DS. Okay. I'm sure you can. And it is so good. It's just, and I started playing it and I was just like, man, games like this, it's just like, where are they? From Nintendo, because that is right. I mean, we have Box Boy. That's one of these games. I mean, that's a little bigger game, but that's definitely like one of those games. But like, we're not having where's Intelligent Systems little games like this?
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's what I'm saying. We're not getting those. That's maybe they're just waiting for that 4DS lineup, the launch lineup, dude.
They're definitely not doing a 4DS. There's definitely.
That's all I want in my life, man. 4K DS.
Know. But it's but then even those games are just so gorgeous. I mean, they're so the 3DS games. Can you find a better looking set of games? I mean, honestly, when they're like if you look at Luigi's Mansion 2, or if you look at Star Fox 64 on the 3DS and with the 3D on, that's some of the most gorgeous looking games I've ever seen. I mean, it's just that system, dude. I'm just gushing over it. I feel like I've been brainwashed by the Switch. I love the Switch, and it's a great system, but it's like nothing compared to the 3DS. It's nothing compared to it.
Ooh, so them some big words right there, man.
I'm just saying, it's like, the Switch has some awesome games, but I mean,
it's just what's nice about the
Ocarina of Time 3D.
3DS,
are you kidding me?
Is just the clamshell. It's like as portable as the Switch is, and like, don't get me wrong, I totally love it. It's like throwing it in the case is not really a big deal, you know. But like to be able to just pop that 3DS in your pocket, you know, and like not have to worry about it like getting all messed up.
Yeah.
Underrated key feature.
I know. But anyway, Spotto is really good, and I recommend everyone DSiWare. It's a Nintendo published, Intelligent Systems game. It's $2. It's amazing, and get your 3DS out and download some good old fun, because it's just, it's a really simple game. Good old fun. It just reminds me. I just got nostalgic over the DSiWare period, because I was just like, this was like when the Apple, like when the store, like the Apple Store or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
The App Store, I should say. When that was like new, and it was really fun, right? Because you had all these like free apps and all these games that people were coming out, and DSi came out, and it was like competing with that. It's like, let's release a version of this DS with this whole other set, this whole other what do you call it? This store, this whole e-store, this brand new store of exclusive games only to play on DSi. And it's crazy if you think about it from now, how it was
like the test bed for
how big
for the
that
eShop.
was. You had the Wii Shop, right? Which was fine. Which was fine, whatever. But the DSiWare was huge, it really was a huge gap from the DS, opening it up to all these games. And there's some pretty good DSiWare games. Which is just amazing. And it's so cool that they took those over, and that those are available to download on the 3DS. I just think that that's such a cool thing. Anyway, Spotto, man, good stuff. But I will be playing more 3DS in the coming weeks, so you'll hear more. But
boom,
we got to get moving, because it's already 40 minutes in.
Yeah, and we've got 5 more games to talk about.
I know.
I've been playing and reviewing a cute little platformer called Furwind.
Anything about this? It's Furwind. Does it have a cat in it?
No, it has an adorable little fox.
Oh, a fox. Did you know a fox is a canine?
Potato. He looks like a cat to me.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
I'm saying, did you know foxes are dogs?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, they're cool, right? But they look like a dog and a cat put together,
They're the best.
They act like a dog and a cat.
The best of both worlds, really. Yeah, they're like sort of timid, but like they could mess you up if they wanted to.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
But Furwind, let me just start off by saying it is the cutest the cutest protagonist I've ever seen. He's adorable.
Oh wow.
And when he jumps,
Kirby?
What's up?
Cuter than Kirby?
Oh yes. So there are little things that shoot him up in the air, like little like wind spirals, and then when he just has like a little grin on his face when he's getting shot up in the air, like, and then he comes down with a smile. Oh, I'm telling you, super cute. But anyway, this is an action platformer, so you'll be doing plenty of platforming, but also you're gonna have some combat involved. Now, it's not like super fast-paced platformer, it's not, where you're playing Mario, you could sort of get to running and you're really zipping around the screen. A more methodical paced action, you know what I mean? Not quite like a Mega Man or like a Mutant Mudds, where that one, I feel like that's, I don't want to say slow, but you know what I mean. It's like that kind of pace. It's like a step up from that. It's a little quicker than that, right? There is a little bit of inertia when you stop moving, so you're gonna have to deal with that as far as platforming goes. You've got a nice little double jump, always clutch. Then you've got yourself a tail whip, and like a butt slam essentially when you're in the air. And those two attacks deplete your stamina bar, which is it's just. You use it and it just slowly regenerates over time, so you can't just be spamming tons of attacks. Which in the beginning, there were times when I was spamming, and I'm like, why isn't he attacking anymore? It's like, oh, that's right, stamina bar. But then he's got some other abilities like an acorn bomb, little pew, which
Adorable.
honestly, that's like the worst move in the game, because he rolls it out and it just rolls really far and it doesn't explode right away, so it's tough to like line it up where an enemy is, because some of the enemies come charging at you when like you're within range or they're flying around or whatever. So it's like, honestly, it was like one of my least used weapons. And like there are times when you need to blow up walls with them, so it's like they are used, but I don't know. I found that to be a little weak personally. And then as you progress through the story, you unlock a couple new abilities, like a dash through the air, which hurts enemies. You've got like a heal, which restores one of your life bars, and then you've got this like ranged attack, which isn't great either, but especially since you get it so late in the game, like you rarely even get too much of an opportunity to use it.
Oh, I hate that.
But honestly, it was one of those situations where it's like the tail whip is your bread and butter. That and the butts.
It's like the boomerang, dude.
Yeah.
From Ocarina of Time.
Oh gosh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like you unlock it and it's like, this is the best
Game
thing
over.
ever, and then you turn into an adult and
Yeah.
you can't use it anymore.
Yeah, it's like, what the heck?
I know.
But yeah, luckily this is not as cool as the boomerang. So
Okay, good.
it
Luckily, it's not
yeah,
as cool.
luckily it stunk on ice. No, I mean, like I said, it could have its uses, but it wasn't. Like I said, I felt like the standard attacks worked better, and like the dash was nice too. Now, those 3 that you unlock, they only have 1 charge, and you can upgrade them up to 3 charges at the shop with the gems you collect from the levels. Now, what's cool is the game is like the darkness is coming to the forest. You need to save the forest, right? And you do that by going through some levels. Each level, well, I should say there are a ton of different level types, which is really nice. So the quote-unquote standard level, you go in there and you need to collect 2 pieces of a pendant, and then you find the exit door. And each pendant is sort of guarded by a mini-boss. Nothing too crazy, but you go in there, you're sort of locked off in a room, you finish that boss, you get half the pendant, you go get the other one, boom, boom, and then you hit the exit. The mini-bosses are like the same, so like that's sort of disappointing. Essentially, a lot of the enemies are the same, but I'll get to that in a minute. Now, in addition to like the standard level, you've got these challenges, which are unlocked by actually finding like a little scroll in the standard level. Initially, I thought, okay, like this is just optional stuff, but you do need to complete a certain number of challenges to progress the story and ultimately get to the next area. And these challenges, they range, but like you essentially need to get to a red orb and then get to the exit, and some have lots of enemies you need to deal with, some are just some trickier platforming obstacles. Nothing too challenging, but like a little more difficult than what you might find in the standard level. Then there is the areas where you got to rescue a villager or a fellow critter who's locked up in a cage. Those are literally just one screen, bunch of enemies, kill all the enemies. Those are pretty quick, and they're just a few of them, but like it helps change up the pace a little bit. And then finally there are the essentially that's the stage that unlocks the new abilities, and those were my favorite because you get in there and it's a auto scroller where from the left side you've got the darkness chasing you, and these are even more difficult platforming, and it's fast paced. You got to be on your toes, and they actually take away like your dash and like your special ability. So it's just platforming, you are just straight platforming to get to the end. And those were really enjoyable, and they got pretty tricky. Like the last one I died on quite a bit, but it felt like it wasn't so tricky or difficult that it felt unfair, but it was really nice to work through. And then each world, once you sort of hit the necessary objects, it's like you unlock the boss, and the bosses were pretty fun as well. So definitely a nice variety in the level types. You're not just doing one thing over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. But that almost just made the fact that the enemy, like the pool of enemies, isn't very big. So you're going to see a lot of the same enemies, and then like in later levels, they're just souped up versions of them, where it's like, oh, they take an extra hit, like, oh, that one's a little, I just shouldn't say a little quicker, like I'm thinking of like the one like wolf kind of thing. He's quicker, definitely quicker, and he takes an extra hit, but it's essentially just a palette swap and like a little beefed up, right? So it's like it's like, I wish you had more enemy types, because the diversity in the level, the level layouts would sort of be like, okay, they put a lot of time and effort into this, and then it almost felt like, well, okay, we got a couple enemies, let's just populate them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a bit disappointing from that aspect, but the controls feel good. The levels are fun. One of the cool levels are actually, it's like you go into like a dark area, like a cave, and it's really dark, so you need fireflies to light up the way. But as you pass crystals that are scattered throughout the level, and those crystals also emanate light, so it's like, it's not complete darkness, but the fireflies get distracted and go to the crystals. So as you're traveling, you're losing these fireflies. So you need to get to a nest and regather more fireflies to keep going on. Otherwise, if you run out of fireflies, like, the darkness comes and consumes you. And it's cool because in the darkness you see like eyes and like you know what I mean, like popping open, like, because essentially the game, darkness is coming, right? So that's sort of like the whole gist of the story. So you need those fireflies to keep the darkness away. And I thought that was a pretty clever idea, how it's like, oh, they sort of disappear to the crystals, but then you reload, and it just makes you like, okay, I need to keep on my toes, and I gotta always keep moving. You can't just sort of sit still for too long, otherwise you're gonna lose all your fireflies and you're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, this game sounds a lot of fun, and it looks amazing. And may I say that they have physical releases of this game on PS4, and I think Vita even?
Yeah, I saw it was out for Vita, which is...
And what the heck, man? Where's the Switch?
Who knows? Maybe maybe it's unannounced yet. But...
Hope so. It looks great.
But yeah, if
it does come out for physically, giddy up, buddy.
Yeah, it's a fun game. Now, one more annoying thing I should say, is when you walk off the edge, that counts as a jump. So there are definitely times when, like, I'd be trying to time jumping off the edge right towards the end of the platform, but like you go 1 pixel off the edge, and then you jump, and that's your second jump, and then you fall, and you're like, son of a gun. And also, like a weird sidebar, like the story, it's voiceover, so like you hear someone reading it, but like what they say and what text is shown, it's like 95% the same, but it's not like verbatim, you know what I mean? So it's a little weird,
right?
Like that was how I got the introduction. I was like, wait, did he said a word that wasn't on the screen, and then like, and it's the same thing, you know what I mean? But he's just saying it like a slightly different way. But I'm like, that's so weird that like they didn't just read it verbatim and like go back to fix that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, that's so funny. That's like one of the jobs that I have is I record voiceovers for stuff, and that's hilarious.
Yeah, so like, it was just so funny. I was like, that is so strange. But yeah, no, Furwind, it's a fun game. It's not super duper long, but like you could probably beat it in a couple hours just sitting down and playing it. But yeah, it's super cute. The control is nice. Like I said, I wish there was more diversity in the enemy types, and some of the abilities you get powered up sort of fall flat. But yeah, overall, a pretty solid little platformer, and it is definitely super-duper cute. It's cutesy-wootsy, one might say.
Cutesy-wootsy?
Yeah, that should be the abstract for the review. It's cutesy-wootsy.
Well, speaking of cutesy-wootsy, I got a game that you may have heard of. It's pretty cutesy-wootsy. It's not that cutesy-wootsy. Do you know what game it is?
Is it Yooka-Laylee?
That it is.
Yeah, I don't know if this is cutesy-wootsy.
Yeah, it's not really cutesy-wootsy. So, Yooka-Laylee. I'm playing it. I've finally played it. Have you played this game?
I sure haven't.
Yeah, you haven't, right? It's kind of weird, right? 'Cause this is the ode. This is the I mean,
the old rare
Shovel Knight. I feel like Shovel Knight is the ode to the 8-bit, and this is kind of the ode to the 64-bit. I mean, you know what I mean? besides it not being in 64 bits, there is a thing you can get that can make it look like it, which is pretty fun. But yeah, Yooka-Laylee, I can't believe it. I finally bit on it. This game, it came out and I was like, well, it's gonna come out physically. So, I didn't get it.
Just holding off, yeah.
Obviously, I'm not gonna get an Xbox. That's stupid. But
I'm
then,
not a monster.
I was like, well, it's gonna come to the Switch eventually. So it did, and I was like, okay, well, it's gonna come out physically, like it will, because it came out for all the others, and it should, And then Limited Run did it, and I was like, well, that's cool, but except for that's limited, so that kind of stinks.
Yeah.
So, and then on top of that, it was $50, and I was like, $50?
No, thank you, sir.
And yeah, so I was like, so I just didn't get it when it came out. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll get it. Maybe I'll never get. I heard middling reviews on it. It wasn't the most amazing game in the world. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to spend all the money on it. Well, after watching the Yooka-Laylee, the new one, the trailer for that, and it looks really fun. I was like, you know what? I'm suddenly kind of interested in this original game just to see how it actually is. And I was like, and it's at Best Buy. I forgot about that. And my buddy Cassie has this little thing there that he gets 20% off. And
You're
so I was
welcome.
like, let's do that. So I called you up and you got it for me. And I think I got it for like when it came out to everything, it was like 42 bucks or something. Shipped to my house. And I was like, yeah, you know what? This is fine.
This is fine.
This is fine. And everything
I
was
feel like
burning
that
around
could be
me.
the review for the game potentially.
This is fine. And so I was actually really excited to play this game. Like I was kind of giddy to play it. I was like, you know what? I'm totally in a 3D platform.
I would say you're
mood.
in that nostalgic mindset. Not for the
I think
first
you're
the
right.
3DS.
Even though-
now you're eight.
I don't-
Well, not your 8-bit.
I'm
but.
sure I've talked to you about this, but I'm not a big 64 era platformer fan at all. Like really at all. Like not Super Mario 64, Donkey Kong 64, Banjo-Kazooie. I've never liked those games really. I didn't grow up with them.
Did you just say you didn't like Mario 64?
Not really. I know, it's crazy, right? I respect the game. I understand how great it is, but I just compared to now, it's just not. It's the controls are just kind of janky, and I don't know, man. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
A quick sidebar. I was thinking if Nintendo just wanted to make a ton of money, I mean, they're already doing that, but if quick, easy money, maybe not easy, and maybe not all that quick, but somewhat quick, just remake Super Mario 64 in like the Odyssey engine.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you'd think that they would do. I think obviously if they did that, they would have to do it as a remaster and like a reboot almost, and they'd want to add stuff. And
Yeah,
change
and
it.
it'd feel different,
that's a
but
huge
like,
commitment.
think of people would go bananas for that, man.
Oh yeah, no, it'd be cool. Yeah, and remember they had all that ode to 64 stuff in what's it called?
Yeah,
Odyssey.
Yep. Spoilers.
But anyway, yeah, spoilers. That doesn't really spoil anything. It mentions it, I guess. Yooka-Laylee. So this is the game that I believe is the spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie. That's the idea, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
obviously, right? Made by the same people, the X-Rare employees. Tons of cheeky British things, including the spelling of words like flavor
Or favor.
and favor or favorite.
Or color.
Or color, yeah. What's with all those U's?
Color.
Kalour. And so what is it? So one thing about the game that I've never liked really about Rare in general, I know Donkey Kong Country is one of my favorite games of all time.
They peaked.
But yeah, they totally peaked. But the design of the character design of Rare, I am just not a fan of. And I think that Yooka-Laylee, I'm not a fan of those designs. I like the colors, but I think Yuka, it's the chameleon, is just too thin. It doesn't look. He doesn't look like too like. I just think he's kind of stilty.
Needs to
And
fatten
then
up. Is that what you're saying?
Laylee the bat is cute, but the big nose is just, it's just, I'm just not a
He
big
looks
fan
like
of
a
it.
clown.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and then just a bunch of the enemies and stuff. They just lack that polish. And I guess that there's something about with Donkey Kong Country, which I think, I think they have the same things with a lot of those enemies, but that works with Donkey Kong. There's something about it that, like, the moles and, like, the hilarious, weird, ripped alligators that are walking around. They're just so ridiculous. Dixie Kong is just ridiculous.
Yeah. She's the best.
It's just this. It has blonde hair. It's just the weirdest thing, right? Anyway, I'm just openly not a big fan of Rare's designs, and they really, the whole googly eye thing. And there's actually an enemy that's a pair of googly eyes that just runs to the nearest thing and slaps them on, and then
self-aware,
that
baby.
then that's the enemy. And the writing's hilarious. I think the writing's fantastic. The gameplay is a lot of fun. I've really been enjoying it. So we finally have this big build-up. I'm very much enjoying Yooka-Laylee, and my wife very much has been enjoying watching, which has been fun. And just kind of figuring out the puzzles together, coming out with the clues. It has that really fun thing that I just like this. I like how you can. It's kind of like if you can climb onto that that surface, you can do it. Like there's no like invisible walls.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, I wonder if I can get up there. Like not even if I can break the game. Like, oh, maybe that's kind of what you're thinking. Can I break the game? Because it doesn't look like I'm supposed to go up there. But can I go up there? And you get up these rocks and you're climbing up, and it's like I can. And you get up there, and it's like there's got to be something up here, that I've got.
Just a block with a Koopa in it.
And then there's just nothing. Yeah. No, then you get up there and there's just nothing. And it's like, you know what? I just like this because it just feels natural. I like the empty spaces like that. I like that the fun that I had with this game was the mystery of, can I get up here? What's going on up here?
Mm-hmm.
I just love that kind of stuff, And I think that's why I love Breath of the Wild. Honestly, I love that feeling of just exploring, like actually exploring. And then, when you get, you weren't rewarded with, 100 experience points and stuff. Like, and that's cool. Sometimes you are. Sometimes you do find an upgrade. I got to the point where, there's a level where I kept going and going and going. And then, you get up there and it's this gigantic, awesome upgrade that you love. And, of course, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the key. The key is you got to have moments where you are rewarded, and ones where it's the journey, not the destination. And I know it's funny. I think this game just nails it. I think it's a lot of fun, just going around, and really it's just, it's set up like like Super Mario Sunshine. I mean, you have these, a portal world where you go into these different little worlds, and then you have to collect, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but there's a lot of really funny ridiculousness in this big book of, and they call them pages, and they're just pages of a book that are in locked like cages, but like they could obviously slip out at any time. Like these gigantic,
we can't
and they make jokes
turn
about
sideways.
Yeah, it's funny, and really funny humor. And you can buy upgrades, and anyway, you got to get the pages that are essentially just like stars or moons from Odyssey. And then you can go back and unlock new places or expand the places you already have to unlock more stuff, which I think is a really fun idea. And it works. And I've been having a lot of fun. I probably put like 6 or 7 hours into it.
Do you feel like you're almost done, or?
I have no idea. I don't think so. I've really only, they have. I've really only gone into like 2 or 3 different kingdom places. One of them being a snowy place, which and I'm so glad I almost didn't mention that Grant Kirkhope does the music for this, right?
I feel like he'd have to.
I mean, it's really fun.
Like if that game without his music would just.
Oh yeah.
It'd be like blasphemy,
no. I mean, honestly, that's like half of it. That's probably half of it is the music, and he has some great themes. I'm doing a game with him. I don't know if you knew that. That's actually funny because I'm listening to it. I'm like, these are the same instruments that is on Chicken Wiggle, on the Chicken Wiggle.
I've heard that instrument before.
No, I've heard that before. He's cheating.
Yeah, he's cheating. It's funny because this game I definitely had interest in, but all the lukewarm reception to it, and then the high price tag also sort of was like,
I think
I could hold off.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened to me. And honestly, I mean, I think that really helped me because I was coming, I had low expectations for the game, and I was like, you know what, I've heard from people that it's good, but it's it's not amazing, but it's like and I think like Nicholas Bray, I think he's talked about it, like if you go into it thinking like it's supposed to emulate a 64 game, and that's the idea of it, and I mean, obviously not exactly a 64 game, but that concept of how it is. And it's janky like a 64 game. It is. It totally is. And in all the best ways. And that's the thing.
That's the beauty of replicating the system, right? Oh, we couldn't figure that out. No, that's part of the charm.
Exactly. It is. It's super charming. It's not a perfect game by any means, but I am enjoying it very much. And I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I am. And I'm having a lot of fun with Yooka-Laylee, and I would recommend playing it if you're nostalgic for a 3D platformer. And it's a competent, fun 3D platformer. I mean, not even to talk about the way it feels. I mean, it feels pretty good. It's no Mario, right? But I mean, it feels pretty good to jump around, the rolling around. You can, it's fun. So it's totally an ode to the 64 GameCube days platformers, and I'm very much loving it.
Nostalgic week for Perry Jerkum.
It really is. It really is.
Nothing wrong with that.
Now, you've been reviewing another game.
Yep.
Which I'm really glad that I thought that, because they sent it to my personal email, and I'm glad I didn't use the code.
Oh, is that
because this was like NWR's code.
Yeah. Oh, so you're on the review.
Well, I guess I'm reviewing it. Yeah. What is the game?
This is Graveyard Keeper.
Now, I remember this game
from PAX.
At one of our PAXs. I think it was the 2 PAXs ago.
Yeah,
maybe it was last
Yeah, I think
PAX.
it was our last PAX
East.
at East. Yeah, they had a big old banner.
And it looked so beautiful, right?
Oh.
I remember it was like pixely.
Yeah,
kind of like Fox and Forest, it just looked so pretty.
Yeah, it definitely was like, oh baby, it has caught my eye. And it was one of those things where it was like, no, it's not coming to the Switch. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Like, okay, like it's gonna come to the Switch eventually, right? And yeah, it is coming to the Switch, and if you're listening to this, I'm pretty sure it's out. And it is essentially, it's a simulation game, right? It is, I would say, akin to like Stardew Valley. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, it's like you're going to be, I like their the official about, right? Graveyard Keeper is the most inaccurate medieval cemetery management sim of the year. But yeah, so essentially the game.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
The game starts out, you're just like with a little cutscene, and you're like, oh, I'm coming home from work or whatever. I can't wait to go see my loving wife, like the love of my life. And like all of a sudden you get a little text message, and you look at your phone, and it's like a woman with like a heart, and you're like, oh, I can't. And then all of a sudden you get hit by a bus or a car or some sort of motor vehicle. And then you wake up, and you're in this weird land, and like there's a bouncing skull, and he's like, hey, and he's talking to you, and you're like, what is going on? And essentially you're like, hey, guess what, man? You're the new Graveyard Keeper. Come with me. And you like go to the morgue, and like, oh, there's a dead body, like grab that and come throw it on the autopsy table. And you go from there, and you cut off some meat, and then you could go down to the innkeeper and sell it to the innkeeper. And you're like, what? Like, what is going on? But okay, so we're gonna harvest these dead bodies and sell the meat. This is weird. But of course you need to bury it as well, the corpse, if you will. And you've got like a little graveyard over there, and it's in shambles. You walk in there, it's like broken down tombs or tombstones, and like broken down little fences and crosses. And you see there is actually a rating for your graveyard, and it starts out like negative like 10 or 15 or something. And essentially you meet like a bishop there, and he's like, hey man, like what you like, this place sucks, you know, like get it together. And then like when you get to a 5 rating, come talk to me. So you know, essentially when you put a new body in there, you like dig it up, throw it in, bury it back up, and you don't really have any rating for it. It's like sometimes it's at -1 if like it's like a bad corpse, or it's at 0. But by decorating the plot, you know, by putting a tombstone or like a wooden cross, you get like a +1, and you can put a little fence around it, and essentially you just start building up that graveyard, and you could repair what was there. But the thing is, like, to do all that, you need to craft these items. So that, like, crafting is huge in this game, and like Stardew Valley, right? It's like you're going to be crafting essentially a lot of things. Now, you could buy a lot of stuff, but it's expensive, so it's obviously more beneficial to be crafting. And it's hard at first because I was like, all right, I really want to like fix some of these stone fixtures in the graveyard that are ruined, so I need like a stone repair kit, but I need these items that I don't have yet, and like trying to go down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out, okay, how do I make this part, like it's a 3-piece recipe, right? I need to make these other 3 so I could do that, and it gets confusing a little bit, especially since the game doesn't do a very good job at explaining anything. That is definitely...
Was that part of the experience?
I guess I would like...
But like it doesn't feel like it should be?
Like, all right, so essentially the game really throws a lot at you real quick. So it's like, okay, I need to build up my graveyard. You go to the innkeeper, and he's like, hey, actually, I can't buy that meat until you get a stamp. But like this guy... and like you could get a royal stamp so people feel comfortable buying the meat you harvested off that dead body. But he's like, but I know another route. If you find this guy, he's got like a fake stamp, you know, like you can go that route. It's cheaper. And it's like a quest, but like there's more. It's not like, oh, you just go talk to the guy. You go talk to the guy, and then he's like, okay, like, yo, you want that? Like, you got to do this. So there are lots of quests, and like as you're talking to different people in the town, you're getting different quests and stuff. For instance, the merchant, I talked to him because there's a garden, an abandoned garden. So the innkeeper's like, yeah, man, like no one's been using that. I'm sure you can use it, but it's the merchant's technically. So like you'll have to talk to him. And then you talk to him, and he's like, yeah, man, like yeah, you could use it, but like I want to make sure you're not some sort of bum. So like grow me these, you know, like 12 carrots, 12 cabbage, like whatever, and bring them back to me. And like at this point, you really don't have any money to even buy seeds. He's like, but I can lend you 5 silver, but you just pay me back 10. So it's like, you're like, okay. And like, you just talk to all these different townsfolk, and you get lots of different quests and stuff, which will lead to more things down the road. And then like, after that, it's like, well, there you go. Like, have at it. The game just sort of like, let's go. So you're essentially, all right, I need to talk to people and get quests to sort of progress things. But like to craft a lot of these things it's sort of tough. There are 3 different technology like attribute points you can get. Like by like physical labor, like are the red ones. There's like a technology which is blue, and then the green one I forget exactly what it is. But you get those by sort of creating and picking things. And like in the beginning, you get a ton of red, and it's like, oh wow, okay. So like by just cutting down a tree, I'm getting like red points that I can spend in these skill trees that unlock new things. If it sounds confusing, it is a bit confusing, right? So it's like there are a bunch of like trees that like, okay, I want to do like for woodworking, like I need to unlock this so I could build a sawmill so I can make different planks of wood, and then then by doing that, now I can get the next one in the line, right? And it sort of goes down, and you can build better things. And by using that, obviously, you could like improve your graveyard. You could improve different different places throughout the game. And the game map is actually pretty big. So it's like you got your graveyard, you got your house. There's a farm. There's an actual town. There's a windmill, not a windmill, a lighthouse. You could build up a bridge, and then there's like a swamp on the other area where I believe a witch lives. So there's a lot to do in this game, but you're really going to be going out on your own to figure it out. Or, like I've been doing a lot, is going to like the Wikipedia page, which it's nice because the game's been out on other platforms for a while. So it's easy to find like a beginner's guide, or like if you're stuck and you're trying to find like a tip for something, like generally you could figure it out. Because from the 3 skill points, like I could not find out how to get the blue ones. Like I was just getting no blue points, and you get to a point on these skill trees where it's like you need blue points to unlock them, and like I was like, I want that technology unlocked, but I don't have any blue points, but I don't know how to get the blue points.
So how do you get them?
You like by studying objects, you could get a bunch of blue ones. But I couldn't, like, I was like, all right, so how do I study them? And I was like, well, you need to unlock the church. So once your graveyard gets up to a certain point, you actually unlock a church, and you become like, I don't know if you become the minister, or like you are in charge of the church, and you give sermons on like the one particular day, and people come in and they give you faith, like if you do well, and then you use that faith to study something, but then you also need a science point. And I was like, where do I get this science point? Like you're not explaining anything to me, right? And then like I went online, and it's like, oh, you get the science point by decomposing like this paper. And I was like, oh my God, how do I get the paper? You know what I mean? Like, so a lot of the times it's like a big chain of like, to get to what you want to get to, like you need to do like 3 or 4 other steps.
So it's a side quest, your favorite.
Yeah. So it's crazy. It's like, I enjoy the game. Like, it is fun to go out and do this, and like seeing like your graveyard come up, and then all of a sudden like, oh, now like I built some more like pews for my church, so now more people can come and I can get more faith. And you can only do that on one day. And like there was a witch burning, like it's weird because like it's like the village is where you go to. I called it a town before, but it's like your village. But there is a place called the town which like doesn't want to be associated with you. You know what I mean? And it's like it's sort of cryptic and weird. And then like this one guy's like, yeah, we haven't had a witch burning in years, and now we've had 2 this year. Like what is going on? So it's like it's very strange. It is, and there's a donkey who brings you the corpses, right? And
naturally,
yeah, and he's talking. So he talks to you, and like he's sort of buddy. But then once you sort of raise your church up to a certain point, and like you're sort of like, oh, you got the farm, and it's like you're sort of coming together, right? And he's like, I'm not your friend anymore. You're like a sellout, And he's like, and I'm just a working horse, like a working class donkey, and I don't get anything. And he's like, I'm not gonna bring you corpses anymore unless you give me 10 carrots a week. And like now he throws sass at you all the time, and you got to give him 10 carrots a week to get a corpse. Very strange. It is a very weird game, but it's super deep. Like I said, the technology trees. There's like I think 5 of them, and it's like it's like with cooking, gardening, like work, like your stone and your wood, and like there's like harvesting the bodies, so you could like harvest more parts from them and eventually use those. It is very deep, and you, like I said, you're going to have to abuse that Wikipedia page, most likely, unless if you are just totally into figuring it out on your own. I guess, you know what I mean? Like you really like a game that doesn't hold your hands at all, and like truly exploring and uncovering things on your own, then this game might be perfect for you. But I have a feeling
I hate exploring.
What's up?
I hate exploring.
Yeah, exploration sucks. No, but I mean, the good thing is the Switch. It's like you could play by your computer, So it's like, oh, I need to look things up. Like you can do it easily. Obviously, most people have phones that can just pop it up too. But it is a bit annoying where like, oh, I gotta look it up how to do this, and then most likely it's gonna lead to 3 other things I'm gonna have to look up to sort of figure out how to work the chain. But definitely robust, definitely a very deep sim. And I mean, yeah, it looks gorgeous. It definitely has a bunch of humor with the dialogue, and the characters are interesting. So it definitely has a lot to offer, but don't expect it to hold your hand in the slightest.
Alrighty.
Boom.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to shelve my next game because I want to put a little bit more time into it, and that's Crash Team Racing. So I'll talk more about that next week.
You mean Diet Mario Light?
Yeah, that's a very perfect way of actually saying it.
I was watching some gameplay, and I was like, man, it looks like the off-brand, you know? And like,
it's totally,
I mean, that's what it is, but
it's totally RC Cola. You know?
Good old RC Cola.
Yeah. But maybe I don't need to say anything more about it. No, I will. I'll talk more about it next week. It's not bad. It's not bad. Like RC Cola. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's all right.
But we could talk about this next game.
Yeah, this one has been pushed to the back burner a bunch of times.
Man, that's what I thought. I was hoping it would get pushed last week, and that you and Jordan would have taken care of it.
Yeah, that and Verlet Swing did make the cut last week. So yeah, I've been playing some Apex Legends. Yeah, Apex Legends is it is a battle royale game, right? They've jumped on the train, and it's actually from EA, and I believe it is Respawn. They've done. I'm trying to think what other games they've done.
I've heard of them.
Titanfall. That's right. And they're actually working on the new Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order game that everyone's super hyped about. But yeah, so they've done Titanfall, which, you know, is, from all intensive purposes, a pretty good series. I know it's had its ups and downs, but I believe Titanfall 2 really corrected a lot of the problems from the first one, specifically the single-player campaign. But yeah, we're not here to talk about Titanfall. We're here to talk about Apex Legends. Now, this is I'm really enjoying it. So to me,
I know you are.
Apex Legends sort of takes a little bit of Call of Duty, a little bit of Fortnite, shakes it up, throws in a little Overwatch, and boom, you've got Apex Legends. Now, when I say that,
sounds good to me.
It's got Fortnite, right? It's a battle royale. We've talked about them before. Okay, the ring closes, boom, boom, be the last team surviving or man surviving. In this case, it is team-based, but it takes from Call of Duty. It's a first-person shooter instead of third-person, and it also you have not only guns you can pick up, but like attachments for those guns, new scopes, new clips, new stocks, different things to improve the guns as well. And then from Overwatch, there are a bunch of different classes, and it's cool because you can't have multiple of the same. I shouldn't say classes, heroes. Or actually legends, excuse me. You can't have multiple of the same legend on the same team. So if yours gets picked, you're gonna have to switch it up to a different one, But what's cool is they each have their own different ability times 2. So they've got like one that's somewhat on like a lower recharge that you can use quite often, and then they've got like a super one. And what's cool is the classes are pretty varied. I like the Lifeline as her power-up that refreshes quite often is just like a healing bot, which is nice, take damage. Like, okay, I can just throw that out there and sort of heal up every minute or 2 or however long the cooldown is. And then like her special is like a big, like a drop box comes down with 3 usually pretty good items on there. And then there are like a bunch of different ones. There's one, she's like a much more combat oriented. So when she gets shot, she actually moves quicker and can get out of dodge. She's got like a smoke bomb. So if you are taking cover, you could throw that down and sort of, hide. As well as like her big one is like a big missile strike where it's just like a bunch of little bombs come down from an air raid and then they blow up. So there are a bunch of other ones. 5. I think there's 8 total. 5 come unlocked with the game, and then you could buy 3 more through. You can earn currency in game to buy them. It's going to take a while, or I think you could buy all 3 of them. It would cost like $21 or $22 or something.
Oh, did you pay for it?
No, because I like the one that was free, so I just use her. But what's cool is, so it's team-based, 3 people per team, 20 teams, so it's a 60-person battle royale. And what's interesting is I really do feel like it's very team-based. So with like clicking the wheel on your mouse, you can ping items. So if you find like, oh, I've already got like a vest, right, like a body armor, I can ping it, and it's like, hey, body armor level 1 over here, and it shows your teammates on the map like, hey, body armor over here if you need it. And it's just very team-based in that way. Like, and what's cool is, all right, so when you get shot in knockdown in Fortnite, right, you can get revived before you bleed out. Similar situation here, but if you actually die or you bleed out and die, they could pick up like a badge from you, and there are certain points on the map that they can revive you even after that point. So it's like, even if you die and your teammate snags, like you're like, oh, I got you, it's like a good reason to sort of stick around instead of like, oh, well, I'm just going to leave, or like, oh, well, I guess I'll sit here doing nothing, you know?
Yeah, they have that in Fortnite.
Did they add that?
Yeah, they have, I've been playing Fortnite too. I forgot about that. But if you die, then your teammate can pick up your little
like your dog tag almost, essentially.
And then there are these, whatever they're called. And then there are these vans that you can find around the world, and you can respawn there.
Okay.
So awesome.
So yeah,
it's really cool. And it's awesome, right?
I bet you, I mean, I don't want to, I have a feeling they probably borrowed that idea from Apex, you know?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
But that's cool, yeah, because it's nice, because instead of like, well,
it's
now
amazing.
I'm just useless, especially if you're playing with friends, you know, it's like,
oh, yeah.
Now I still have a chance to come back, which is nice.
Yeah, it's really fun. It adds a really fun dynamic to the game, because it's like, okay, I'm dead, but you can still, like, there's still hope.
Yeah,
and it's like,
that's all you need.
And, just, like, camp out, and you have 99 seconds, camp out, and then you can come back and, try to maybe, either take them on and kill the people that killed me, or just wait and grab my, it's really cool.
Yeah, no,
really cool.
I like that addition a lot. Now, what's cool, too, with this, when you jump out of the plane, you actually jump as a trio. So, like, there's one jump master, and, like, they jump and they lead, and the other two people are sort of locked onto them. Now, you can hold down the E button, the E key on your computer, or whatever button if you're playing on Xbox or PlayStation, and you could detach and go your own route, But I thought it's cool that it sort of groups you up as a team, and brings you all down at once.
That is cool.
Now, what's also cool, I'm trying to think, is they've got a nice, beautiful slide. So when you're running, you can just, like, hold down the control button, and you start sliding, and, like, you go super fast down hills, which is nice. There's no fall damage, so you can just really jump and fall wherever you want, and it's nice.
Cool.
But, yeah, I don't know. The map's nice. I enjoy the layout of the map, and actually Season 2, I believe, is starting up in July, so I assume they're probably going to do something similar to Fortnite, where it's like they just sort of rejigger the map, you know what I mean? Like, oh, something happened, and boom. Because the story is very much like, you go through a tutorial and it's like, hey, you're an Apex Legend. Like, you come in and you all compete in this thing, And it's cool, too, because they have, like, big banners throughout the world. Like, oh, this is the kill leader, you know what I mean? Or, like, this is the champion who had the best, like, out of everyone. This person won their last match, They're the champion. You kill them, you get extra points, And there's a battle pass.
Right.
Similar to Fortnite, and there's some really cool skins that you get, like, little loot boxes that for free, and you unlock them and you get cool skins and different like cosmetics for your guns and your characters. But
that's great.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely enjoying it. Like I said, I think I like it better than Fortnite.
Fun idea. I wish it was on Switch.
I feel like there could still be a chance.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know Estuardo was talking about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know Estuardo
really
plays
for E3.
Yeah, I was hoping to, but I don't know. I could see it happening. I mean,
yeah, I downloaded it on Xbox One because
I'm pretty sure we
Aaron
could cross
said that
play.
you could play it. Yeah, I need Xbox Live to play.
Really?
I didn't think you did.
Are you?
Yeah.
That's weird because normally the free to play games don't require that.
That's what I thought too. But it's like, no, this title. I mean, if it's not, then Xbox is even more pathetic than I thought. Their UI, because like I download it and it's like, no, you need to have it. So, but everyone says, really? You know, and I don't, yeah. I'd love to play it, though. It sounds like a ton of fun.
Yeah, that is so weird.
And honestly, I don't want to play it on Switch. Like, I mean, obviously, I'd rather play it on Xbox just because it would run so much better, but.
Yeah. Well,
no,
I'm
cool,
definitely enjoying it. You know, it is free to play, so if you have a PC, you can just download that sucker and try it out. But yeah, like I said, I like the first person better than the third person for shooting. And yeah, like I said, I think the abilities of the characters are fun and just the more team oriented. I mean, like, I know you could play teams in Fortnite and stuff, but I don't know, it just feels more integral to the gameplay. So definitely a fun game, and I would love for it to come to the Switch, and you know, I'd definitely check it out and play there. Like you said, PC is probably the better spot to play it anyway, but yeah, Apex Legends, check it out.
Giddy up. And with that, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we got
games to give away, Burr. And we're back.
Nicely done.
Yeah,
we're back with the eShop Roundup.
The new eShop Roundup. eHaw.
And it is giveaway time. It's our favorite part of the eShop Roundup week. Not really. Well, it's all tied for first, so why not?
Yeah. We've got
this
two
is where we
first
give away
place
games.
winners. It's like last week.
Yeah, exactly. We have 2 codes that we are giving away this week of Meow Motors, this little kart racer game. It got like around 43 retweets. So just so everyone knows, like that's like almost like a 1 in 20 chance.
It's like blackjack,
for winning.
baby.
Yeah, there you go.
1 in 21.
So we got 2 winners. One is Tiff E off Twitter, and she was extremely shocked. She said, "Woo, thank you. I'm glad I got the code for Nintendo Switch. Say I'm so shocked and excited too. I can't wait to play the game. Thanks."
Boom.
So that's awesome.
It's always good when people are excited, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure most people
that's
are
the
excited,
beauty.
but when they articulate that excitement to you,
I know. It's so nice to know. It's like if you can get a game for people that are excited to play it, that's the best thing ever, right? Now, the best part also is our other winner, good old Dan.
Good old Dan.
Like I said, here's the thing. You know, there's only like 40 some retweets. There's a good chance the winner we are friends with. Like that we know who they are, right?
Yep, good old Dan pulling in the dub.
And good old Dan, yeah. So he, I don't think he got back to me. I was like, did he have?
He probably saw you messaging. I was like, oh God,
He's like,
Perry
oh,
again.
Answer that guy. Yeah.
Shouldn't have retweeted.
Yeah. No, but Meow Motors looks actually awesome. It looks
I bet you it's
than
better
a
than
certain
Crash
other.
Team Racing.
Yeah, I bet it is actually. I bet it is. Honestly, I kind of wish I would have gotten one of the codes.
Yeah.
But
all of a sudden, like Dan's like, "Why'd you send me Crash Team Racing?"
Yeah. Anyway, thank you everyone. Go and retweet this episode, and you can have a chance to win our next game. And we have 2 codes again.
Ooh, double giveaways. It's like the Sushi
Gone
Striker,
fishing.
baby.
It is. Speaking of fish, Go Fishing 3D. That's what we got. Go Fishing 3D is the real fishing. Oh, it's called The Real Fishing, by the way.
Goodness.
It's a realistic simulator game. Pack your baits, fishing rod, and get on the boat.
Don't forget your crack cocaine bait.
Yeah. That's in the game. No, not really. So, Casey, this game features 5 amazing things. What's the first thing?
We've got enjoyable 3D graphics with lake scenarios.
I love lake scenarios.
Yeah,
And
they're
it also has
very important.
very important. It also has intuitive and easy navigation and control.
They've got realistic fish types.
That's always
That
good to have
means
realistic.
fish that you're going to find out in the real world will be in these lake scenarios.
There's also 2 fishing boats.
Not 1, count them 2.
2 fishing boats. And you guessed it,
Various
types
of baits. Including the DLC unlockable.
The DLC unlockable.
Crack cocaine.
The what's the crack cocaine? The North American earthworm. Tried and true. But yes. No, actually, this game looks like a lot of fun if you're in the mood for some virtual fishing in 3D, by the way. And there's 2 codes.
Isn't it so funny that, like, video games and fishing have gone, like, forever, man?
I know,
like,
man.
Whenever there's been video games, there's been a fishing game to go with it.
I know.
And
like,
even in games that aren't about fishing, like Zelda, there's fishing games within it.
I know.
It's like
Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
I know, man.
seriously.
Fishing is a fun thing, and there's even a fishing controller for the Dreamcast.
You know what it is? It's because catching a fish is exhilarating, right? But like
Yes,
in
it
real
is.
life, it happens so like not like
I know,
so
it's like,
rarely.
can we
You're just
just-
sitting on the pond most of the
Yeah.
time. But not
Which is
Go
good.
Fishing 3D, the real fishing. I bet you're pulling up monster prize bass. We're
Prize
talking
bass.
trophy winners on a pretty
Yep.
regular basis.
Yeah, and I bet someone was just like, "Hey, I hear about this new video game thing. Could you make a fishing game where I caught fish like
Yeah.
on a regular basis?"
They're
And
like,
someone's
we're already way
"Yeah,
ahead of you, bub.
way ahead of you, bub. We got Go Fishing 3D, and we got 2 codes for it. And just all I have to do is retweet our Twitter episode.
Just hit that.
Tweet.
Check out that description.
Check it out in the descriptions right now. Just do it right now. And now it's time for our picks of the week.
Picks of the week.
And this is a good time because I got 2 games, you got 2 games, and let's do our runners up. I'll start first. My runner up is this really neat looking game called Siberian: The Time Traveling Warrior. Now you should check this game out. It's on sale for $4 right now. It was $5, and this is a really cool looking platformer game. I mean, it actually looks. I know what you're thinking.
What do you
How
think?
can there be another platformer game that looks cool? And it's, I mean, there's been so many. Well, this game actually looks, I mean, obviously.
It's got graffiti in there.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's
pretty
I
cool.
love the style of it is really cool. Kind of neon-y, kind of Toe Jam and Earl-esque. And it just looks really neat and really fun. And I really want to play it. I should reach out to them. It looks really cool, but it's the Siberian: The Time Traveling Warrior. It's a pixely game, but it has Ooze's style. Looks like a lot of fun, and yeah, I like it. What about your runner-up?
My runner-up right here, Duke of Defense. It's a tower defense game. However, I was watching the video. It looks like you set up your tower, right? Like your towers and everything. But it also looks like you have control of like an actual character that can go around slashing and helping out your defense. So it's not
Gotcha.
necessarily like a straight, you set up your towers and your defense and you just sort of watch it play out.
great.
It looks like you can
Yeah.
sort of jump in there and do some action.
Yeah.
Beautiful snow level. I'm seeing snow come down. Very nice pixel art. Nice
It
logo.
looks
I
good.
like the
I love
logo.
a good old tower defense
The
game.
D in Duke and defense are shared.
You like that, huh?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Oh, good.
The
I'm glad you
Duke
like
of
that.
defense.
The Duke of Defense. That was your nickname in your high school football team, right?
Yep. It's actually my dad's like nickname, sort of.
The Duke.
Just Duke.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
just Duke. Nice.
I feel like that,
Well,
when like you fill out like crap on the internet, like you don't really want your name in there. I feel like he does Duke. Duke Gibson.
Duke Gibbons.
All right,
Well,
what's your winner here?
Is
Or-
that Jimmy's dad or
Yeah.
Cassie's dad, Duke?
Cassie's
Duke Gibbons?
dad, Duke. He's sick of your crap.
That's amazing. My pick of the week is Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night. You might have heard of this game. It's $39.99. This is the Castlevania Kickstarter success game that's finally out. I mean, my goodness. I was thinking about it. I can't believe it's out. Like, it's been so long. It's been like 4 years, hasn't it? It's been forever.
It's been a real long time.
The last time I heard of it, remember, it was like totally coming out on the Wii U.
And wasn't it super ugly and then they revisited it and it looks
and they
better?
made a video. It looks better now,
But
but apparently
I've heard some
scary things about this game. Yeah, I've heard some things. Now they just sent out a big press email like while we were recording and a tweet saying, "Hey, we've heard everyone. We're going to be working around the clock to get
We done goofed.
up to standards." And that's good to hear. So now I do want to mention one thing that's hilarious. I think was it Carmine that got it. or someone on staff, they got the physical collector's edition.
Oh no, I don't
And
know.
the steel case is a PS4 case, like the size of a PS4 case. It just has like this plastic insert
Oh
that
no.
holds the cartridge. It's amazing. You should look it up
I'd send it
everyone.
back.
Send it back.
I don't want it.
Seriously. But the game does look pretty cool if you like Castlevania. I've heard good things. We have a preview up on the site that Matt wrote about the PS4 version. So if you want to check out that game and more about it, and we have stuff about it on YouTube and stuff. So, but another thing we have about on NWR TV is your pick of the week.
Yes, that is Devil May Cry for $19.99. I'm not sure if I said it. Duke of Defense is $14.99. Yes, Devil May Cry, the original, which ironically, or maybe unironically, I don't know, it started out as Resident Evil 4.
See, it looks like Resident Evil. I was just gonna say it. Like the screenshots look like Resident Evil. That's
Yeah,
funny.
well, they were really sort of experimenting with Resident Evil 4 back in the day. It's gone through like 4 or 5 different iterations until where they got to the point of where Resident Evil 4 is what it was, right? But Devil May Cry was one of the earlier builds, and they just felt like this was too drastic a change from the core and the DNA of what a Resident Evil game is. But obviously it was fun enough that they didn't want to scrap it, so it shifted gears and it became Devil May Cry. And I've heard so many good things about this game. This series, obviously, the 5th one just came out earlier this year, so it's a long-standing series at this point. And I'm glad.
You've never played it before.
No, I've always had interest
Isn't that
in
weird?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I might be on the review for this for the site potentially. If not, I'm probably not gonna buy it right now because we've got Mario Maker coming out and stuff. But it will be a game I absolutely play at some point. And I'm glad. Like I was worried it was gonna be like $30. $20 seems
Dude,
fair.
it's a Capcom game. It's gonna go on sale.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna go on sale so fast.
Yeah, so
That
if
game will
even
be $5.
15 would be, well, I don't know if it'll drop down to 5 that
Oh,
quick.
it will be.
All right.
Yeah, I'm saying it. It will.
All right.
I'm not saying it. Maybe in like a couple years, but yeah.
But yeah, no, it definitely looks cool, and it's sort of like the predecessor to what Bayonetta would be, right? So it's that
Right.
crazy flying, looks stylish, kicking keisters kind of game. So
That's right.
looks pretty cool.
Cool. And with that, we are done with the eShop Roundup, and that means that we are going straight in to the news block.
News Talk with Casey Gibson.
We have got some hard-hitting news for you this week, folks. It has been found out that the dog in Super Mario Odyssey is a direct port of the Shiba Inu model from Nintendogs and Cats.
I knew it. Now, this begs the question.
What question is that, Perry?
Is Nintendogs a prequel to Super Mario Odyssey?
Ooh-wee. It could be. Yeah. Oh my good. Super Mario Odyssey 0. Nintendogs and Cats.
Super Mario Odyssey plus cats.
Plus cats. Well, that's
interesting.
3D World, right?
There you go.
Yeah, it's funny. They had a side-by-side picture on Twitter. Someone had that post. Identical. It is very much the same little doggy. That's so funny.
That's adorable.
Hey, got to reuse them assets when you can.
Yeah, man. And with that, that's the news block.
Yeah, obviously post E3, right? Everyone has exhausted their news in the previous week here, so that leaves us to the real hard-hitting news that we just covered. But yeah, I think we're gonna take a quick little breather, and we come back. We're gonna talk about some of our favorite summer games. Alrighty, we are back once again, and we figured we talked about so many games in the first half of this podcast. How should we close it out? And we figured, why not talk about some more games?
Games, you say? Interesting.
Games on games on games.
Yes, we thought since it just turned summer. Did you know summer just started?
The solstice, right?
Yeah, the solstice. And we thought, let's talk about games that we play in the summer. Our summer games.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this, and man, I definitely have some great memories of just, and now I pine for the days where I had 2 months of nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
No work. You're too young to work. All you have are just games at your disposal. I guess friends, if you want to hang out with those jimmies. No, but yeah, long summer nights, just waking up, having all day to do whatever the heck you wanted. And of course, being big video game nerds, a lot of those days were spent just jamming out hard, right? So we figured it'd be fun to look back at some of our favorite games we remember playing over the summer and some memories we might have with those games. Now, would you like to kick it off, or shall I?
I'm going to let you kick it off.
All right. Well, it's funny, because I'm sitting here thinking, what are the first couple games that just instantly come to my head when I'm thinking summer? And the first one is World of Warcraft, man. Nerd! Yeah.
Such a big nerd.
Oh, super nerd. And it's funny because the first time I ever got it, it was September. School had just started my senior year, I think. Should have been, yeah, I think my senior year. And I picked it up and I played.
Senior year of high school?
Yeah.
Nerd.
Yes, yeah, nerd alert. And at this point, it had been out for a while. It might have been junior year, I don't know. But I didn't play it that much. But the memories, like when I really got into it the first time, was summer, right? So I had tons of time, and of course, early World of Warcraft days. That is what you needed. It was hard to level up. You know what I mean? Like it was to hit the level cap was something you're like, okay, like I achieved something here, where nowadays it's much easier. They give out high level characters like they're candy. But I remember just playing like till like 5 a.m, like just BSing with people, because this was like, you get in a guild, you bust out old Ventrilo, which is like I guess it's not really like Discord in the sense like Discord has like, text communication, and well, I guess it's what it did. I don't know. Vent essentially was a program you just like talk to people, but it was like people would have to pay for a server, and then you would be able to have people on there and you could talk. And usually guilds had like their own vent, so you could like talk to each other.
I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, Ventrilo. And you would just
that's hilarious.
You just BS with people like playing the game and stuff, just super late. But one time I wanted to focus in on was the summer after my freshman year in college, and I had come back, and it was just, I was playing WoW. I was like level capped, so essentially they had these, like, there were dungeons, right? 5-man dungeons, and then there were like 5-man heroic dungeons. And back in the day, dungeons, like, it wasn't just something you would just like willy-nilly like, oh, I'm gonna go do a dungeon. Like, you had to set aside like an hour at least, It was something like you're gonna have to get a group together. You're gonna have to get, like, I was a healer at the time, so it's like you had to find a tank.
Casey, you're
yes.
still a healer.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, with my good vibes. But yeah, it was like an undertaking essentially. Especially you want to go do a heroic, but like it yielded good loot, and you'd get some. It was good to do, right? Like you wanted to bang these out, and it was. I remember I woke up and we got this group together and we went to the Underbog, and there were like 3 or 4 5-man dungeons in there, and we did like 3 of them. For like 3 or 4 hours we were playing, just clearing it out, having a great time. And then that night, I just had a big old party at my house. It was great. And it's funny
because of that?
No, it was just we got 3 dungeons done, boys. Get the beers. It was just one, like, my parents never went out of town when I was younger, or so it like they like, they're homebodies, right? So they don't leave very often. It was like they went on vacation, and it's funny, like I met up with them a couple days later, but like there was a couple days where it was like I had the house to myself. So it was like, well, what's the perfect ideal day?
What's the most stereotypical thing I can do right now?
Well, I'm going to do a heroic dungeons all day, and then I'm going to have a party. And it was great. Yeah, it was good times. But
Nice.
yeah, oh, what a great day. Quintessential day, you know?
Anyone who says they remember that party wasn't really there.
Yeah, well, it's funny. My friend, I remember, came over early in the day, and he just brought, like, a big marinated steak. He's like, we'll need this for later. And I was like, that's weird. Man, that steak was, like, the best steak I've ever had.
Yeah, that sounds
Although
so
I
good.
almost
I'm
burnt
so
my face
hungry,
off
dude.
because I had a bunch of idiot friends who didn't know how to start the grill, but they let the gas go, you know? Mm-hmm. And then, like, I remember I was like, oh, let me light it up. And all of a sudden it was like, and I was like,
Were you like,
almost
were you
burnt.
like Hank
Yeah.
having the PTSD after the blowing up the... Don't you hear it? It's gas. It's going to blow up.
No, I did not hear it. I almost burnt my face off, but I didn't. The steak was great, and the dungeons were even better.
To sum up my story,
There you go, yeah.
that's good. Yeah, when I think of, honestly, it's my summer, like I have 2 summer games, okay? One of them, Zelda, Ocarina of Time, man.
All right.
It's like, you just got I have the time where I can, and it's like, I just think about, it's, we didn't have AC at I mean, we had like window ACs, but we didn't have like
Central Air.
central air. And so it was, it wasn't bad. It was just, it was a little warmer. And I just
little
think
moist.
about, you know how your house smells in the summer?
That's
Just
just,
smells,
you,
it-
Perry.
It brings out the scents of the grains and the woods,
The moistness.
the moistness. Yeah. But I remember that was the perfect time, and I just thought, I love Ocarina of Time. I love everything about that game. I just love that game. It's a good game. Did you know that?
It's a real good game.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
So when you
And,
replay it, do you smell that house? Like,
Oh yeah, and then like I just think and then I'm even like crazy nostalgic for the 3DS one too, the 3D, because I would play that out at camp at this camp that I would help with, and it'd just be at night but I remember just beating the whole game, like after I was done, and then I'd just go back to my room and play, and it was just so much fun, dude, and it's just. The sounds of Ocarina of Time are just so good.
my favorite sounds of Ocarina of Time are the Forest Temple.
Yes.
Just like everything involving the Forest Temple is
Yes,
so good.
You mean like how the creepy Forest Temple? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, when you're adult Link.
Yes. It's amazing. But that whole game, dude, like right now, I want to play it right now.
Oh, me too.
I'm probably going to play that. I'm probably going to play Ocarina of
See,
Time
the thing
3D.
with me, like, wanting to revisit Ocarina of Time, I know the 3DS version is a beautiful, beautiful version of that game, but it's like, I want to play it on a TV, like, I want to have that feeling of, whether it be an N64 controller or, like, the GameCube, like,
Yeah, man.
anniversary collection or something, but, like, have that feeling of, like, I'm on the couch, I'm watching the TV, you know what I mean? Like, bring me back.
I know. But I get you. But there's nothing like having a 3DS XL.
Oh, no,
And
it is wonderful.
It's so I love how it's remastered, so it's just the animations, it just looks so good. I know exactly what you're saying though.
Yeah.
But there's like no way I'm ever going back to play it unless they remake it again for the Switch. But even still, that 3D, dude, oh my goodness. Do you remember when they announced the 3DS and they announced Ocarina of Time 3D?
Well, that's what got me
Sheesh.
to buy the 3DS. I mean, like, because it came out in 2011, right? The 3DS.
Yep. And
That
then it
was
came
like
out in,
right
like,
after
the June of that year.
Yeah, right after college for me. So it was that sort of my lull time for Nintendo.
Yeah.
So it was one of those like, yeah, I didn't get the 3DS right away, but I remember I think it was August. So it was like not too long after it came out, and I remember I was like, man, it's like I want to play Ocarina of Time, and it's like I'm gonna go just buy a 3DS. And then
Yeah.
they didn't have Ocarina of Time, and I was like, no. So I had to buy freaking like Dead or Alive to tide me till the next day. But
Oh my goodness, what an idiot.
yeah, yeah, what a moron.
What a moron. But yeah, dude. Do you have any more summer games?
Oh, I sure do. Well, it's also funny, you talking about, like, the no AC or whatever. That sort of another WoW moment is, like, I remember, like, with just playing WoW, looking, and this was a little later, like, post-college, I believe. And it was, like, I had my computer set up right near the window, So it's like it would be so hot in that room, and like just hearing like the sounds from outside while raiding. Ooh-wee. But yeah, sorry, I'm getting all excited over here.
Nostalgia overload.
Yeah. Now it's funny because I'm trying to think summer games. I've got 3 I'm going to talk about. We already talked about 1, and I'm like Nintendo's. It's like when I'm just thinking summer games, it's these PC games keep popping into my head. Diablo 2. I've talked a million times about Diablo 2, so I'm not going to go too crazy into it. But yeah, that was just another game I remember just losing entire days to it like it was nothing. One day I remember waking up at like 9 o'clock, right, summer day, going down in my basement, this at my old house, like, all right, playing it. And I remember I was like, man, I'm getting a little hungry. And I looked, it was like 7 p.m. And I was like, whoa. I was like, man, it is late. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
crazy.
I have not eaten all day, and I've just been playing Diablo for.
Dude, that's addiction.
Oh yeah, dude, we were super addicted back in the day. Diablo was crazy, and it was funny too because at that point, like with WoW, I had my own computer, right? So I never had to fight for computer time. But Diablo 2, growing up, like me and my brother both were addicted. So it was like a matter of like, all right, you play for an hour, I play for an hour, and like we'd go on and off, and you would just pray the other man fell asleep, you know? Like I remember, like that was the best. Like, oh, he fell asleep. Like I am not waking him up, you know? Like I'm gonna ride this storm as long as I can.
That's so funny.
Yeah, those were the best. Like, oh, if like all of a sudden like 11:30 they pass out, you're like, yes. It's like I've got hours ahead of me.
Sucker.
Yeah. What a loser. 11:30.
Yeah.
But yeah, Diablo, man. Like I said, just losing days, not hours, days to that game. Woo. You got any more? Or you
my last summer game is a fairly recent one, but I talked about this on Twitter. But Splatoon, dude, Splatoon is a summer game to me. Like it's a game that, you know, to think about it, I've played it over 4 summers now, which is crazy to think about.
The last 4 years of your life, it's taken days.
It's so good, and it's one of my favorite games of all time for sure. And of course, I've played it in the winter too. But there's something about those hot summer nights and with the fan on, playing, and then getting so intense and like back sweating on the couch. And Eleanor laying on my lap, you know, and it's just you know, in the good old time, best, like, you know, the birth of the podcast, right?
Yeah, for real, man.
That was
a quintessential part of our history.
Yeah, that was in the summer.
Yeah, that was a great time for sure.
Yeah, and it's just
you
know,
Triforce Heroes, that was summer, right?
Oh. Yes, Triforce Heroes, dude. I was just thinking about that. You know, I was thinking about today. Okay, quick sidebar. You've had 2. I get 1. You know, you're talking about Resident Evil 5 and 6, right? And you're like, it's just at Actionville and not Resident Evil. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure do.
And I was thinking, you know, I totally understand what you're saying, but I'm kind of really interested in those games too because that sounds really fun.
Sounds more up your alley.
Like, if you were explaining Triforce Heroes to someone like Jimmy Gibson, and you're like
Duke,
and Duke's like, well, yeah, but like, are there like dungeons? And you're like, well, no, you play it multiplayer, you know. Then you keep going, and it's like, well, that's not Zelda at all, like, you know.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
That sucks, man. Like, and I was just thinking about that, and I was like, well, like, I wonder with the expectations of what you think. It's like, yeah, of course. But you haven't even played it yet, so maybe.
Well, I've played 5.
Maybe it's actually really fun. Oh, you did? You played 5?
I played 5. I haven't played 6. Here's the thing, though, because I would say Resident Evil 4 hit that sweet spot of delivering the action while sticking. Like, Resident Evil 4 is a very different game than quote unquote classic Resident Evil, but it still holds on to that DNA. Like, it still feels Resident Evil, right? Even though it's drastically different. It's like 5 and 6 just sort of were like, nah, we're just guns a-blazing, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
and 7's return.
7's the return. I will say, I put my name in the hat for the 5 and 6 reviews.
Oh, nice.
So who knows? Maybe I will get 6 and it'll be my first exposure. And who knows? Maybe it's.
You like it.
And you know what? Going in with those low expectation, that's
That's
a
better
benefit
than
sometimes.
like when it came
so,
out, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
like for the game, but yeah, yep. And then you got one more summer game.
I got one more summer game.
Lay it on me.
And it's funny because those first 2 games, very social, right? Diablo 2 and World of Warcraft, very social games. Like I said, talking with people while playing. This next game, not social at all. Shin Megami Tensei 4. It is weird. Like this is the first one that popped in my head when I thought summer games, because it was one of those. I didn't play it when it first came out, and the series had always interested me. Like I was always like, okay, like I sort of want to get into this, and I guess it was 2013. I believe was the year I played through it. No, I guess it would have been 2014, because I believe it was the first year I was working at my other job, and I remember just coming home, and it's a long game. You know what I mean? It is definitely a game that's going to require a lot of time.
70 hours, right?
And yeah, it's probably something up like that, 60, 70. And it was a game I remember just coming home and just playing, like getting home, like doing whatever, eating dinner, whatever, playing until like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and then going to work at 8 or 8:30. And I just I remember for like weeks on end. It just absolutely.
How can you do that?
It had me hooked, man. Like it was one of those I haven't had in a while, where a game where you just couldn't stop thinking about it. Where you just I got to play this game, And it was just, I remember so many long late nights playing that game. Again, yeah, there's no AC in the window. You know what I mean? Like you're feeling that heat. You're hearing those chirping and all the crickets and stuff outside. Oh, baby.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah,
and
I
it's
like
funny
the
how
last...
those that noise almost comes synonymous with a game.
I know,
despite
totally,
it like having no good reason to. But aside from
Right.
I played it in the middle of summer.
Right. Yeah. It's funny because when you said that, one more summer game jumped into my head. This is a quick one, dude. Mario Golf on the 3DS.
Oh,
totally
baby.
Summer game. Yeah.
Oh,
I know, man.
Well, I'm losing it over here, man.
I know. That's an amazingly awesome summer game that I love to death. But now, what I'd like to know is what other people's summer games are, because I think everyone knows what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's and it's funny because it can go completely opposite, right? Like, I guess for me, Animal Crossing, the original one, that's a fall game to me, and that's why I think I love the fall elements in that game
Animal
the most.
Crossing is definitely summer to me.
Yeah, for me,
well,
it's fall. Yeah.
But yeah.
And then I can think of Metroid Prime, the original one, winter game.
Oh, dude.
I mean, it came out in November, right? So that's when probably most people played it, was winter. But I remember playing Metroid Prime, and then while watching the Jets play, this was before
Listen
I was
to you.
A super hardcore Jets fan, So where I would
there
play
was a time.
Yeah, where I'd play video games while the game, that would never happen now.
Oh, okay.
But I remember pressing pause and going up, and it was a snow game. My dad had the fire going. Ooh, man. But anyway, we're talking summer games here. We're not talking winter games. We'll talk about those in November.
We'll get to the winter games in December.
Or December. Better off, yes. Yeah. But yeah, man. Oh, I tell you
nice.
what, I would love for anyone listening to tweet at us some of your favorite summer games.
I would love that too.
It gets me all jacked up, man.
I know.
Nostalgia.
I can hear it.
It's a hell of a drug.
Yep. Well, that'll do it for our episode of Talk Nintendo Podcast 145.
145.
That's right. 145 of these dang things.
I was thinking about
We're
that
almost
before.
at 150.
Oh
my goodness.
The last 145 weeks, we have recorded a podcast every single week.
That's right.
Well,
That's crazy.
144 technically, right? There was that one week between episode 1 and 2 before we went full on weekly.
Well, no, I think that was a few weeks. I think that was, anyway.
Well, regardless.
Anyway, but yeah, but we've recorded more since then, so
we've made up for it.
But yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, we're almost at 150. We got to do something for 150, dude.
Oh man, month and change away, and that's right before. Well, thank goodness, right? 145. So it will launch on August 1st. right before the onslaught of September. So at least we beat that, right?
Yep. Well, everyone, thank you so much for listening. We are very happy to do this podcast, and if you would like to hear more, we have a Patreon at patreon.com/NWR. For just $1, starting at $1, you can get extra podcasts from us and from RFN, and we are so close
to the stream nights, baby.
To unlocking stream nights and to unlocking our next goal, which will be so cool, guys. Unveiling
we just got past, our next goal.
We just got past 100. Yeah, unveiling it is what I mean. We just got past 100 patrons, so we've grown like almost 50% since we started like a month ago.
Yes, yeah.
So it's pretty insane.
End of the month, right? End of the month is upon us, which means that shout-outs will be going out next episode.
That's right, for our producers.
For the new month, as well as our Patreon game night, which is coming up in the middle of July, so you're going to want to check that out. And you can check all of that out at patreon.com/NWR. That's patreon.com/NWR.
Ooh-wee.
And that's speaking of which, you can find the show on Twitter at Talk Nintendo Pod. That is Talk Nintendo
POD,
where you can join our weekly giveaway and win yourself a good old little fishing game. Go down to the lake scenario, catch some fish with some real bait.
Go fishing 3D, baby.
Yes.
That's right. So go retweet it right now. I know that I hear the music.
They already
louder.
did, though.
That means that we need to stop.
They already did before.
It's pushing us off the stage right now. Thank you so much for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next week on episode 146.
Woo!
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2,
and
1. And
we're back.
Nicely done.
Don't forget your crack cocaine bait.
This video is made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Did you know that Nintendo World Report is funded directly by fans like you? When you support Nintendo World Report on Patreon, you get immediate access to multiple exclusive podcasts every month, exclusive Discord channels, an early look at select content, and more, all for as little as $1 a month. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details.